We're rolling.
Okay, this is a home interview, Greenwich, New York, 18th of February 2005, approximately 10 a.m. Interviewers are Wayne Clark and Mike Russert. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Gerald J. Bulger. I was born in Cambridge, July 17th, 1925.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering service?
I was a little behind in school, and I was in my sophomore year, and of course the war was on, and I turned 18 and I was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in the service, and then when I got back out, I finished my education in high school.
Okay.
And then I went on to business school and did 2 years there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you remember where you were and your reaction when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, my father and I were listening to, I think, the New York Giants football game.
Yep.
And I lived over here on the other street, and we couldn't, they interrupted and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
How did you feel when you heard about this? How did you and your father feel? Did you talk about this?
I really don't know. He just, we were shocked, and,
Mm-hmm.
What was going on and everything. Yeah.
Okay. So you were drafted into the Navy?
Well, I was drafted, and then I chose the Navy because I always laugh about it, because I chose the Navy because I could swim. That's what happened to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, when were you drafted?
Well, October of 43.
Okay. And where did you go for your basic training?
Sampson.
Mm-hmm. What was Sampson like when you went there?
Well, it was quite a station.
By 43, it must have been built up.
Yeah.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
yeah. They I was in the company there, and a lot of companies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long were you at Sampson?
Well, I went October, and then I think I got out boot camp around December of that year. And then I come home, and then they assigned me to a radio school.
Mm-hmm. Where did you go for radio school?
I went to Bedford Springs, Pennsylvania. It was, that's where they had it for 5 months, 6 months there. Yeah.
Were you a radio operator or a repairman?
I was a radio operator. Okay. Yeah. When I got aboard ship and everything. Yeah.
Okay. After you left radio school, were you assigned to a ship, or
No.
what happened then?
I come home, and then I was sent to California, and I stayed around. Well, I don't know, I can't remember, but I think it was probably July of that year that they put me on a ship. Mm-hmm. We all went on a ship and ended up in New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I just was around till I got signed to a ship. And I had to go up to Hollandia. That was upper part of New Guinea, and that's where I got, I think it was September I got aboard the ship. Yeah.
Okay. What ship were you assigned to?
The USS Orestes.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of ship was that?
That was a PT tender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
Could you just zoom in on that?
Now, while we're looking at this, why are all these signatures on here? Why do you have this for the tape?
Why would I have them there?
Well, yes. What's the significance of all the signatures on
Well,
this?
they were all there, and I thought of something like this, and I had the thing blown up.
Mm-hmm. This was a reunion.
Yeah, the last September, and I said it'd be nice for to have them guys sign it and keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was all many's there, and then I sent the ones that couldn't come, that were sick and everything. I sent them out to the mail, and I got a few response there. That one fellow in Colorado, he was quite tickled, and he had a stroke and everything, but he says he was going to see it. He wrote me a letter. He was going to see his doctor, and he says, "I got to take that and show him." So you know, they appreciate things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was it like on the Orestes? What kind of duties did the ship do, and being a PT boat tender?
Well, there's they call it an A-frame, and we did like temporary work for the PT boats. You know, if there's something wrong with them, or the motor wasn't working, or the engine, you know, we'd be able to pull it up out of the water and take care of it.
Now, did they take it up on deck, or did...
No, it was like an A-frame on the side,
Okay.
drop in the water,
Okay.
and then they'd raise the boat up, and then they could work on it. You know? Yeah.
Okay. Could you tell us, were you in any actions at all?
Not, well, when we got to the Philippines, yeah. We, let's see now, I got to think, the board ship on September, and they invaded the Philippines in October, I think. And then we were in a second convoy, the 7th Fleet, from out of New Guinea into the Philippines. And then we, you know, it was still active there. You know, they were bombing us and things like that. But then the 26th of December, we went on a convoy up to Mindoro. And that, we left the 26th. And we never had any sleep because we were attacked it all the time up through. The suicide planes and things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Radio Shack, I was assigned to a 20 millimeter gun, you know, because they had some in the Radio Shack, and I was assigned to the 20 millimeter. That was my duty in general quarters. But we never got off. They were at us all the time.
And your ship was hit by a kamikaze?
Well, before we got there, we had I think it was Burke. He was carrying ammunition, and one of them kamikazes come in and hit that ship, and I was coming out of the Radio Shack, and it picked me right up. I'm probably 2 or 3 feet. I thought we were hit then. And I come down on my fanny, and just not far from us, it blew up the whole ship. We had one survivor. They picked up one survivor. Yeah, just like you come down in the water, you know, it was quite an explosion. And they, you know, we were active all the time. They were at us all the time. And then when we got to Mindoro, they said that the fellow that when we anchored, he says it's so bad up here. He says, I'll give you 3 hours before you get hit with suicide planes, and I think it was about right. We got hit. Well, it was about 2 or 3 hours after we anchored and everything. Yeah.
Were you in the Radio Shack or at your gun?
I was on the 20 millimeter, and my job was putting the tension on the magazine, and we had and the gun jammed. And there was a fellow named Richmond. He's here, but he ran towards the plane. The plane was coming in this way, and our gun was here, and he ran towards the plane, and I ran. Well, we had reefers, refrigeration things, and I always say that I went in there to protection, because I was, you know, and I think the man upstairs, God told me to get out of there. And I ran around the wheelhouse, and I landed, maybe 20 feet beyond that, and then the plane and the bomb hit right there where the reefers were. So it was kind of close. And 2 fellows that beside me were killed, and I landed on top of 2 fellows, and I took most of that for them, I guess. Yeah. And then after after that, Rodriguez, he was our chief. He picked me up. He was bleeding. He says, "I'll get you down on the deck, lower deck, you know." And I thought they yelled abandoned ship, and I yelled to a guy in the water, and of course I had a lifeguard thing on. I said, I'm going to throw myself in. He said, well, I'll watch you. So I went in the water, and I'd come up, you know. And then a PT boat come along, and I pulled myself up on the ladder a little, and then they pulled me up the rest of the way. And I just, they took me on to a destroyer, I guess, and kind of give me some morphine and things, and then they got me to shore, and they put me on, they had a train there in Mindoro, flatbed, and we were started on the train, and the darn Japs were bombing us. We had to stop, and here I am, you know, we were all there, and we were, you know, targets, but finally got to a place where they had to operate on me, and they put a body cast on me, but there was so much going on, you know, they were operating. It took me hours and hours before they got to me.
Now, where were you hit?
Well, my right leg was, my toes were shattered, the heel, my shoe was blown off, and the heel was gone, and I had a broken leg. And I had shrapnel in my back and all over me, I guess. And so that's what they decided, you know, they put me in a body cast, and then from there I went to, they put me on a ship and took me back to Leahy, and then they put me on another hospital ship and brought me to Alandia, New Guinea.
Now, did your ship sink?
No, matter of fact, they got back onto it, and they worked at it, and they got it going, and they got it back to the United States, and then they were on the way back when the war ended. They were in Hawaii. Yeah, they were bringing it back. Yeah, so it was quite an ordeal, I guess.
Now, how much time did you spend in the hospital?
27 months. I was about 15 active duties, and then I was 27 months in the hospital. So December 30th to May, I think it was May 2nd, 47, I got discharged out of Philadelphia Naval Hospital. Yeah. But when I got back, I had, you know, a lot of things they had to do to me, and operations, and they took my infection was in my, you know, and they took that off below the knee, and so I was running after that. I was running temperature and things, and they discovered that I had gangrene in a wound up here. Because when they came in, he pushed it, you know, the doctor, you see the bubbles coming out. So they had to take it right off, you know. In other words, you'd have saved me, I guess. Because that'd have killed me, you know, but they got it.
Now, on this it says there were 52% casualties,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, there was about 300 on there, so you can imagine there was 150 that was either killed or wounded.
And that was all the result of that one kamikaze plane?
Yeah, it was a bomb and a kamikaze. Yeah.
Now, after you... so you were discharged out of the hospital then in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came into San Francisco, and they took me over to Mare Island. That was a naval hospital there. Yeah. I always tell the story. They unloaded the ship, and I was the last one off. And the band had to play for everybody who was unloaded. And they were, what were they? Don't Fence Me In, I think they were playing. So But then I got there, and then of course they operated on me, done some things, and then I was, you know, I went down to about 75 pounds. You know, I was 140 pounds at the time, and I just then my mother, she came out to see me, and that kind of picked me up, I guess. Did a lot of, you know, made me feel better and everything. Yeah.
Now this Rodriguez that helped you, what was his role on the ship?
He was head of the radio shack. He was supposed to be, he was a chief, but he got in a little problem. So he was first class. He was a heller, you know. But I always, he was clever. He would, we used to copy plain language. And sometimes he was on there, and he'd talk to us just like I'm talking to you, and that come over, you know. And God, all of a sudden he'd go 2 or 3 minutes, he'd pick that all up. He'd talking to us, and then he'd just bringing it up. He was clever. Oh, he was good. Yeah.
Now, he was wounded also, you said?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Now, what happened to him?
Well, he came back to Hollandia, and he always, when they reunion, he said that him and another fellow came up there to the hospital in Hollandia, and they were inquiring about me, and the nurse told him there, said that he had died.
Oh.
So he thought, you know, ever since that we finally got it going in 1986, I think. I called him in California. He was in California. And we
He must have been surprised.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's you know they.
Now, is he still living? Or?
No, he died here about probably 3 years ago. Yeah, he had stomach problems, and yeah. Matter of fact, when we were on a reunion down in Florida, he got sick. We were on a cruise, and he got sick on the cruise, and I had to take him off, and he went. Well, he finally went back to California, but then got a hold of him, and he died. You know, stomach problem. Yeah.
Now, do you remember? I guess you probably were in the hospital when President Roosevelt died.
No, I was on the ship coming back.
Oh, okay. On the way back.
In April, what was it, 14,
Yes,
15?
yes.
Yeah, we were on the ship.
Did you remember how you felt when you heard about that?
Not a thing, you know, it was quite a thing, a surprise and everything. Yeah. But they didn't, I didn't come back on a hospital ship, I come back on a Liberty ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had nurses and doctors on there and everything. But
Were you suffering at that point?
oh, sure, yeah.
How was the care you received on that ship?
Well, there was a black boy that was more, he took care of me more than the nurses and the doctors, you know.
Really?
Yeah. He was, in other words, he was, can't remember his name, but he was good, you know. But I always said that I had pain, you know, and of course they'd give you morphine and Demerol. So I had a shot one day, and and I didn't feel it. So I says to the corpsman and the nurse, well, she says, we didn't want you to be a dope addict, we watered it. So I made up my mind then, I said, I'll see if I can stand the pain. So I did, you know. So I made out all right, but you know, yeah. And then when I got back to Philadelphia, I had more operations. I had a lot of bed sores and things they had to, operate when I put a little more weight on and things, cover up things. And, yeah.
Now, after you were discharged, did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
Yeah. I went back. I was a sophomore, and I took corresponding courses when I got feeling better, And then when I came back in May of 47, I went up and took the Regents of Social Studies or History and English, and I passed them. At 65, but I passed them. And then I went back to, of course I had credits from the service, and I went back my senior year and graduated out of high school, 48. Yeah. There were several boys that was the same boat. They graduated earlier, 46, after they got out of the service and things. Yeah.
Did you ever make use of the 5220 club at all?
That's
That was like a unemployment insurance,
yeah,
$20.
I had some of that. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Did you join any veterans organizations?
Well, I didn't. I was voted in the Legion, life membership, and when I come home, the Legion, they raised money and they gave me a car.
Oh.
So 1946. Yeah. So when I was able to get around, I was able to drive and things. Yeah. Yeah.
And right after you got out, did you stay in contact with anyone at that time that served with you, or was it not until later on?
I think it was later on. I mean, yeah.
Now, when did you start having reunions?
Yeah, I think it was 86 in Boston was the first one. Well, see, I belong to PT Boats Incorporated, and we're part of that, and that's how that's what it was, the PT Boat National Reunion, and that's how it started. And then we used to have it every 2 years, and now we have it every year because there's not many of us left.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, just one other thing. You had sent us a copy of a photograph of yourself. Do you remember, if you hold that up in front of you, wink and focus, do you remember where and when that was taken?
Well,
approximately.
I would probably, when I was home on probably the end of October, or I mean December of 1943, probably along in there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Yeah.